You ever play a game that's just the most average, middle-of-the-road, nondescript, nothing right or wrong about it? It seems like such a rare breed, a game that has absolutely nothing going for it on either side of the spectrum. But I've somehow come across two, Dark Void and Bionicle Heroes. They're, without a doubt, the hardest games to review because there's nothing to say about it. And I have to give a verdict too when everything good is immediately and perfectly cancelled out by the other negative side of the coin. So I'm sorry if the build-up to this review is a letdown, because let me tell you, reviewing it was a letdown for me too.
Do you know what it takes to be a hero? When you're lost, a piece of love, a piece of you. Do you have what it takes to beat the fearless?
Bionicle Heroes was released in 2006 for everything and was developed by Traveler's Tales. The year prior, TT made a name for themselves with LEGO Star Wars, the game that got me into gaming, so they were riding high. I suppose there was no better developer for a LEGO game, and the influence is clear while still being different to not clash with LEGO Star Wars 2 around the same time. Despite the fact that I'm talking about an original game, I still have no reason to talk about the story. Should I just keep doing this, keep the pace of the videos up, and hope laziness pays off? You play the role of an anonymous tour washing up on Voyanui, only to be told by Balta that the Paraka are already here and have found the Mask of Life. So, GG, Voyanui is fucked, better luck next time. Anyone up for a swim? No, Balta gives you a mask and tells you to fix it because you're Bionicle Heroes, I guess. Their non-adherence to the plot was at least intentional this time, not like the utter failure of Bionicle the game. They wanted freedom to do what they wanted and not be bound by the canon, that's fine, but 2006 was my favorite story, and I miss it. There isn't a story, it's just beat the Paraka and get the Mask of Life back, which makes the cutscenes only purpose to tell jokes, not advance a plot. It's the same brand of slapstick the more traditional LEGO games used, and it succeeded in getting a few chuckles out of me. Though, maybe I'm just glorifying my nostalgia, but I don't think LEGO Star Wars stooped low enough to make a crotch shot joke. I don't want to think about Bionicle characters having genitals.
Aside from maybe... No, get out of my head, bad thoughts!
Something about the way the Paraka are all portrayed as idiots rubs me the wrong way, considering they're supposed to be competent, terrifying, and some of them even intelligent. But I suppose hardcore Star Wars fans could say the same thing about those games, so I won't complain about it. Something about the two feels different, but maybe I'm just justifying my baseless accusation. Besides, the story clearly isn't the focus here, it's just to loosely tie together levels, bosses, and jokes until the credits roll. There isn't even voice acting outside the intro.
Oh, what's it doing to my mind?
Which was a good call. Well, since we're clearly not finishing the game to see the conclusion of this gripping story, we'd better hope the gameplay can tide us over. It's possible you assumed it'd be a Bionicle skin of LEGO Star Wars like every other subsequent LEGO game, but it's actually a third-person shooter.
Oh, I've been ready for this for a long time.
If you wanted proof that Resident Evil 4 changed everything, it influenced a LEGO game. Let that sink in. Despite being one Toa only given one mask, you can switch between the 6 Toa and Ica at any time, provided you collect their mask if it wasn't one of the arbitrarily chosen ones to start the stage with. And they're all major Motoran characters from Modern Nui. I always liked that as a bonus to longtime fans. And Vizon's totally there. I can't imagine how he got to tag along. I assume he's like a cat, the Anika feed him once and now he won't leave them alone. Thankfully, unlike Bionicle the game, they're each different. They have different movement speeds, special abilities, and unique weapons that all have real-world counterparts that make them easy to describe. Jawa gets a machine gun, Kongu a shotgun, Motoro a sniper rifle, Hyuki a rocket launcher, Niparo a grenade launcher, and our goddess Holly a wave motion gun. Whichever one you pick is entirely up to personal taste and how you like to dish out pain. I picked Kongu because Toa of Air are the best and a shotgun is a good weapon choice with decent range and speed, and he's the fastest. Until I got Vizon. He's not the best at anything, more like a B in every area, but it adds up to the best average score. You may have noticed something missing from the differences I mentioned. I didn't say anything about their elemental powers. Yes, once again they ignored doing anything creative with the fact that the Toa control elements.
Though I'm having a hard time remembering the Toa and Ica doing much with it in the source material as well. They really weren't as creative as Avatar, were they?
Seriously, go back to the weapons I mentioned. Which one of them is relevant to their element without stretching it? Our Lord and Savior Holly is the only one I can think of because her wave motion gun is kind of like a fire hose. Wouldn't it have made more sense for Jawa to have a flamethrower for starters? For more disappointment, how about their special abilities? Throughout the levels there are times you'll be required to use a certain Toa to pass an obstacle. Now that sounds like a good way to show each of the Toa off. But here's the thing, they're extremely situational, only able to be used in very specific areas. And the only ones ever used for optional areas are the upgraded skills, I'll get to that later. The base skills are mandatory, so to ensure you have the necessary Toa, they give you the mask right when it's needed, which means the only purpose is to make you play as someone else for a few seconds. Some of the skills I don't mind, like Nuparo climbing certain walls, but only the immortal Holly can step in water? Lame. Without a doubt, Huki gets the most attention with his ability. Building. Yes, that thing that everyone can do in LEGO Star Wars, that thing that should be a basic ability in a LEGO game, is Huki exclusive. I could take this opportunity to complain that this game has very little LEGO aesthetic. The only thing is the random LEGO pieces strewn about organic environments. It's better than Bionicle the game, which did absolutely nothing with that, but they went to the effort to make the characters look exactly like their sets. It's a more glaring contrast now. But back to Huki, this means you'll be switching to him all the time just to build something and then switch back. It's an unnecessary detour, so why build anything? Well, sometimes it's mandatory, like you need to build a minecart to progress, but most of the time it's these tiny things that impact nothing. Except getting you money, these colored pieces, studs to the fans of other LEGO games. They go to filling up this meter at the top of the screen. Oh, is that the True Jedi meter used only for 100%? No, this is a mechanic unique to this game for good reason, Hero Mode. Collect enough to fill the meter, the Toa glow gold and become invincible. So how long does it last? 10 seconds, 20 seconds, a minute? Try indefinitely. Yes, you fill that meter and you become invincible for as long as you like. True, it doesn't last forever because every stage has numerous golden piles of blocks that can only be built by a Toa in Hero Mode, though thankfully any Toa. Building these is mandatory to progress and doing so removes Hero Mode, but don't worry too much about it. That meter fills up so quickly I've been able to fill it again completely while in the same room as the golden construction. You will be invincible most of the game, even during bosses. Each of the Paraka's worlds has 4 levels, and they each follow the same structure. Besides the second stage where the goal is to collect a Protodermis herb, they all have a boss fight. The first is a Rakshi, the third is a Bionicle character like Brutaka and Axon.
You know, a good guy.
Oh, Brutaka's here too. Except she sounds like a man. Much less sexy.
I didn't say anything.
And the fourth is the Paraka themselves. Let me tell you how almost every boss works. The boss is invincible, and they send a bunch of random enemies after you. The goal is to build up enough money by killing them to go into Hero Mode, at which point you build a golden construction to deal a few hearts of damage. Repeat a few times to get them down to their last legs, at which point they face you themselves. But they're still invincible until they're not, and you can hit them. Yes, they deliberately made turning invincible a mechanic of the boss fights. Besides how I like my boss fights to be fights against the bosses instead of their lackeys, this makes bosses really easy. The whole game is really easy, but you didn't see that coming with the whole basically always invincible thing. The Toa share a health bar of 5 hearts, but it somehow doesn't spell death for all of them on the off chance it drains. You lose the mask you were using at the moment and switch to the next available Toa with a full stock of hearts. Like I said before, there are masks all over the place to replenish any lost stock, and picking up a mask also refills health. I couldn't even tell you what happens if all the Toa die. By now, you've probably correctly concluded what the biggest problem with the game is. It's sinfully boring. Levels take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, all feature the exact same structure, are a cakewalk to finish across the board, and filled with hordes of enemies that aren't fun to fight. Whether Vizarok, Borak, or Vaki, they're all just as easy to kill and only serve as a minor distraction. Bionicle, the game was too short, but this is too long for how little it's willing to offer. I couldn't even bring myself to record the whole game for this review. I did about half of it on my old save file so I could also collect canisters. The canisters are a holdover from LEGO Star Wars, hidden items in each stage to encourage replayability. Here, instead of one type of canister, there's both silver and gold, though I can't really tell you why there's a difference or what they do besides raise the completion percentage. But I couldn't tell you what they did in LEGO Star Wars either, so I won't complain about it here. A couple of the silver ones are open to those who can explore a little, but most of them are behind barriers that require upgraded special skills. And some of them are behind Paraka doors. You unlock the world's Paraka to use in that world when you beat them, but Vizon replaces all of them when you beat the game, and he has his own unique black construction, so just wait. So, how do you upgrade those special skills? Well, that's the other purpose to money I was alluding to earlier. Per series standard, there's a store in the main hub, but you can't buy new characters here. That's fine, there were only like 4 characters in LEGO Star Wars anyway, and this has upgrades instead. Each toa has 3 stats to upgrade: armor, weapon, and skill, and it's worth paying for them all. A fully upgraded toa runs circles around their base counterparts, and if you care enough to go for completion, you'll need them. I like upgrading one character over the course of a game, so in a game with a small enough roster as this, I like this system. Upgrades aren't the only thing in the store you can buy. You can buy a discount on every other item. I don't get it either, but it's handy. And a couple bonus levels that are just enemy rushes that give Uparu some excellent usage. And probably the most baffling extra, the Paraka Playground. I complained earlier about this game demeaning the presence of the Paraka as villains, and there's no better example than this. It's just a playground. The Paraka roam around aimlessly and you can put them on toys that you buy for them. I don't get it. Well, I guess what this game lacks in heaviness and serious tone, it's got in technical skill. The game runs at a consistent 30 FPS on the Wii. I didn't run into any glitches, and it looks pretty nice too. I especially like the snow peaks that I didn't capture footage of. Take my word, they look good. There's something about the visual style that's very Twilight Princess. That's impressive considering Heroes launched only 5 days before it. The music is forgettable when it's somehow not the hero mode theme, but I like Avok's theme.
If you could hear it over the gunfire, that is.
Alright, I'm tired of talking about this game, let's wrap this up. Beating all 6 Paraka opens the door to Vizon's chamber, who the game does nothing to introduce. Sure, he shows up after every Paraka fight, but if you haven't been paying attention to the books or comics, you have no idea what this guy's deal is. You beat him up in his giant spider, he sinks into the lava, and I'm honestly surprised they didn't throw a Terminator 2 reference there. And the Mask of Life pops up. Oh yeah, I guess we were looking for that. Why did he have it? The game doesn't say. Instead of wrapping up the story, we instead get our obligatory disco dance party. This was necessary.
You know, I thought we wouldn't go any lower than Bionicle the game. And playing this for the first time, I thought we didn't. But playing it again, I think we made a step down. It's probably the better game in design, and it represents Bionicle better, but it's just too boring to recommend. And from the same developers as LEGO Star Wars, a childhood classic of mine, it should have been better. Did you know this game doesn't even have co-op, a claim to fame of LEGO Star Wars? It hurts to see the year I jumped in, my favorite year, miss out on both a good console game and no movie either. Oh, Holly, god of sports that ultimately don't matter in the grand scheme of society. Deliver me from this game. Yes, I'm going to keep using this joke as long as I find it funny and relevant to the topic at hand. Now isn't the time to be somber, now is the time to rejoice. I finished the Bionicle Marathon. I've reviewed every Bionicle game ever released that still works. Come on, dance with me!
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I'm also a part of a Let's Play channel you can check out if we ever upload, or you can look at my Twitter account where I've posted some strange things. I'm probably working on the next video now, so stay tuned.